everybody, it's Allison. I'm in my violin studio and I'm going to do a work through practice clip for Gavotte in D major by Bach, which is in the third Suzuki book. I'm checking my clock so I know when my 10 minutes is up. Okay, so this piece is not fiercely difficult in terms of notes or rhythm. What this piece is all about is textures, articulations, and ornaments. You can quote me on that. We have a lot of grace notes in this piece, and by and large, a grace note is a little ornament that comes immediately precedes the note. So instead of playing a note, it would be. So rhythmically, how do you do that? Well, there's two ways of doing a grace note. You can either play it before the beat, which means that the grace note is actually stealing a little bit of time from the previous note. Okay, if that makes sense. Or method number two is to place it on the beat, and in which case it's stealing a little bit of time from the note that's the actual note that's written. In this piece, I think before the note, grace notes are appropriate. Artistic decisions depends on the style, the period, the placement, the harmonic direction of the line. Basically, ask your teacher, do what he or she says. So we don't want a huge accent on the, unless it's on the beat. If it's on the beat, we do that. But if we're doing it before the beat, so the tricky thing is it's in the same bow stroke, but we want the actual note itself to sound more important. Not. You see the difference? If you were playing your grace note on the beat, then you would get, but we want it before the beat, so. Do you hear it? These are the fun things. So to get that effect, your bow needs to go a little bit slowly, and then when you get to the note itself, speed up a little bit. Okay? See what I mean? If you get it, good. If you don't worry about it. Basically learn the piece first. I'm just discussing that because it's an ornament and it's an element of this piece. You can safely ignore that and come back to it. You learn the next two pieces and then come back and kind of rework the piece and add more of these ornaments on it. That's fine. So there's grace notes, there's a trill. The beginning of the second line. A plain trill is probably, if you only do one turn, that's called a mordant or a turn. But if you do your fluck at least twice, then that's a trill. I believe in the new addition to this piece, they actually in the fingering show that you start with the upper note. This is a variation of a trill. So we have the upper note, then the trill. Okay. If you're lost, again, doesn't matter, but try. So what's the most important thing about a trill is, let's say you're starting from the note. You don't want your hand to kind of spasm, which is usually the first thing that happens when you try and do a trill. So keep the back of your hand out, because then the kind of finger action you have is actually coming from the tendons in the back of your hand. It's not the muscles in the finger squeezing, because it's a better way to do it if you can. And let your third finger drop. So if you start with the second finger, let the third drop. Now snap it off. It falls back, and you snap it. Okay? So you're not putting the finger down. The finger will fall down by itself. You're snapping it back. And it gives you a cleaner sound, and you can go a little more quickly. Anyway, experiment with that. So there's a trill, there's a grace note, there's something else in here that I wanted to talk about. There's at the second half of the second Gavotte, we have double stop. And yeah, that's a minor third with an open E string. It tends to sound dire, shrill. Okay, so try and get it in tune if you can. The secret to double stops is usually organize your fingering from the bottom note to the top one, but in this case the top one's an open string, so that's easy. So put your second finger on your A string, and now put your bow evenly on both strings. So you don't need to press because you're trying to get two notes. You simply alter the angle of your bow. You're neither on the A string level nor are you on the E string level. You are smack dab in the middle, and you just calmly, but that means you're bowing at a slightly different angle than you're used to. You're used to being either there or there, but now I'm kind of in the middle, right? Now you have to stop, do a stop bow, over to E. Stop bow, back to the middle. Stop bow, back to E. Stop bow, back to, okay, do you see what I mean? Stop and over to E. Stop, back to both. Stop to E. Okay. That's all I can see for the moment. I'm just going to play through now from the beginning. So we have now, so that was ornaments. Articulation. In this piece, it's all about contrast in texture, right? Because we have some smooth legato lyrical bits, and then we have some pick, 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 kind of, you know, picky bits, I call them. And we want to have the contrast, right? Because that's interesting. Music, if it sounds too much the same, gets boring very quickly. So you need to alternate, you know, between major and minor, between loud and soft, between smooth and rough. So texture is really, this makes you a good violinist as opposed to an adequate one. So we've got dots on these eighth notes. Stop bow. And here's your little grace note. So stop bow. Those stop bows are really critical because when the bow starts skating, the rhythmic control goes out the window, and you don't have clean beginnings and endings to your notes. So the harmonics of the thing become a little blurry. So now this part is legato. Oh, that started with the upper note, didn't it? Okay. Careful, make it clean. Make sure your bow stops before you cross. Okay, high G sharp. Keep your second finger down. Again, clean. You got to get used to the idea, which hopefully you already are, that changing the string is not the same thing as playing the next note. It's not. It's change and then play. Change, play. Good. I'm running out of time. We're not going to get all the way through. Okay, that's all obvious. It's the same thing. I don't see anything terribly different. In the second gavotte, we do have, make sure you do your bow distribution. You're going to have 3/4 of the bow, 2, 3, stop, and a quarter, and then 1, 2, 3, and a quarter. And here we have legato. High D sharp. And so that was piano, and then you have subito forte. Subito means suddenly. Okay, so practice your trills and good luck.